All right, and we are live. What is up, everyone? OJ over here from PlayerEssence, and welcome to another gaming discussion. I've already had, this is my second one for this week, and I'm probably going to be bringing more people on. This is something that I thought that I should do more, just to kind of highlight some of the other people in the Nintendo community, kind of get their names out there more, and let you guys see them, but also talk to people that I've already had some back and forth with, like on Twitter and stuff like that, just so we can come to a common understanding. So I think these are really cool. And today I have a guest with me, and it is Andy from Colloco. So Andy, how you doing today, man?
Good, man. Good. Enjoying the hot weather, although I'm not outside because it's way too hot here in Florida. But yeah, man, I'm doing good. Thank you for having me. Thanks for taking some time so we could talk about video games and stuff. So
Definitely. So yeah, it's definitely good to have you. I mean, I'm in the same boat. Here we're on the other sides of the the U.S., but here in the Central Valley, it is just super hot. Like, it is just, if you don't have air conditioning, you're done. You're done. So
yeah, but wait, but man, when I went over there to visit, I gotta say, man, it is completely different. Like, it is so, I was like amazed at the weather over there. Like, you're in California or close there?
Okay, well, yeah. So here's the thing. You went to E3, right? So that's in Los Angeles. Okay. So I live about an hour and a half away from Los Angeles. Like, some people even commute from where I live in the Central Valley to Los Angeles to work every single day. So I mean, like, I don't live very far away, but the difference is that, like, I live in this, it's called the Central Valley. So we live in a valley, and it's hotter. It's way hotter and more humid where I am than the hour and a half to 2 hours away in Los Angeles where you were. So if the weather's better, yeah, the weather is better there because you are literally driving out of the valley. I mean, like, when you take that drive to, like, you see a bunch of canyons and mountains, and you literally see yourself leaving the valley and into better weather. So
wow, because here it's like you could literally just go outside, not move. You could just stand outside and you just are drenched in sweat. Over there, it was like, yeah, it's hot, but I was dry, and then at night it's chilly. Like, I'm like, I need a jacket, man. It was pretty cool. It's awesome weather.
Yeah, Los Angeles is definitely, especially different parts of Los Angeles. That's not even the best part that you went to as far as weather goes. There's even better parts near the beach and stuff that has amazing weather, but you'll be spending almost all your money on mortgage or rent. Yeah, there's people there. I mean, we're talking like $1,700, and they have roommates. So $3-4 grand, $5 grand for like little tiny apartments. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I definitely don't want to live in a hostel. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to.
No, I've seen people literally live in like huts in nice parts of town for like $1,200 a month, and I'm like, man, y'all crazy. Like, man, y'all crazy. So yeah, but anyway, I choose to live in this death weather, and I pay a lot less. So. So yeah, man. Well, it's definitely good to have you on. Like we said, we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to first talk into or get into kind of where we had a little bit of a disagreement via Twitter, and that was just overall, like, third-party support, kind of what's going on with Nintendo. So I want to first and foremost say it's probably I'll just say I'll apologize, for kind of probably I came at you in a wrong way. You know what I'm saying? I think we should have done this a long time ago, right?
Yeah, so, I me as well. Like, sometimes I'll say things a certain way, and I don't necessarily meet them like that. It's just maybe I'm just like frustrated. Like, I got all this stuff going on at work, and I'm like, I lash out. Like, I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done that. But
But I mean, I don't take it that way. You know what I'm saying? Because I know most people that you meet when it comes to video gaming, especially Nintendo fans, we're all pretty nice people for the most part, right? Like, if you meet someone in person. So I never took it that way. I never unfollowed you or unsubscribed to your channel or anything like that, because I knew it wasn't, whatever issue that we had, it's really not that big of a deal in the grand scheme of things. So I was thinking, I watch your videos. I mean, and if you guys haven't checked out Andy's videos, please make sure you check out his videos. He's a Nintendo YouTuber, does some great content. It's at Colloco. I actually have it linked in the description of this video, so make sure you check that out, and we'll talk about that a little bit at the end. But yeah, I never unsubscribed. I always watch the videos just because, like I said, it's just video games at the end of the day. And I'm like, and after seeing your videos, there's no way that I knew that you weren't a cool guy. You know what I'm saying? That you weren't just looking out what's best for Nintendo and just kind of just doing what you like to do, which is game, right? And like whatever hobbies that you have. So I'm glad that we're able to get together and talk about it today. But let's talk about the third-party support a little bit, because you've been a little bit vocal on that. You know what I'm saying? So to be honest, and forgive me, but I don't even remember what our dispute was about.
Well, okay. Well, before I begin, I just want to say, like, I don't pretend to know more than anyone else does. You know what I'm saying? Like I respect your you know, your knowledge on the video game business and everything like that, and everybody else's. Like I just what I do is I see certain things and see certain facts and just ask why. You know, like if you think that this is the way things should be going, what about this? You know, that's all I'm looking at. And for example, like the first thing was what I disagreed with you was that you said that the reason that third-party support failed on the Wii U was because of the Nintendo fans' fault, that they didn't buy third-party games. And I disagree with that notion, because like Wii U owners did buy third-party games. The problem was there wasn't enough Wii U owners. So if you look at percentage-wise, you know, like if how they performed on Xbox One, 360, PS3, PS4 compared to Wii U, most of the games are right about that percentage-wise. I mean, I don't expect, or I don't think any third party or any company expects for just because you're a Nintendo fan, you're going to buy more third-party games, you know, especially when you have the first-party support that Nintendo, you know, consoles have. So that's what was my disagreement with that, was because there was really only two games that really failed on the Wii U when it comes to performance-wise, and that was Assassin's Creed games and the Call of Duties, which Assassin's Creed, you know, a lot of people played the first and second one on 360. So, you know, those fans were more likely to buy Part 3 and Part 4 on their 360. You know what I mean? As far as the Call of Duty, I don't know why it failed that horrible. Like there was no sales on the Wii U, and there were good games. That's the one. I have no answer for that one. But as far as everything else, I mean, what do you think about that?
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that I guess I was a little harsh in my way of saying it. I think it's like everyone's fault. You know, maybe I shouldn't have been so pinning it so much on Nintendo fans' fault, but I do think that Nintendo fans spreading that all third-party games suck, that are garbage, automatically put that in a lot of people's heads, and I think which helped fail third-party developers, especially when you get something quality on the system. If you look at like the percentages like you were talking about, which I can agree to you in some of the cases, yeah, I can agree. Like if you're comparing the percentages of like the games that sold and then like the system sales and all of that. But the problem is that like when you look at like what like Ubisoft is looking for, so they put Assassin's Creed on the Wii U and they put it on the PS3, or sorry, they put it on the PS4 and they put it on the Wii U, Assassin's Creed like Black Flag, for example. And the PS4 launched in that year. The Wii U had already been out for a year, and the PS4 version, even with the lower install base, still far outsold, you know, the Nintendo Wii U version of the game, like absolutely obliterated it. And Assassin's Creed 4 was I wouldn't say a very good port, but it was a good port. It was so good to the point to where Shokyo actually tricked everyone into thinking that I think he showed the Xbox One version of the game, and then he said that it was the Wii U version, and everyone tried to say that it looks like trash. But then he revealed that no, that was actually the Xbox One version of the game. So that's how close, like eventually the end result was looking like. It was not a bad port. It didn't run super bad, yet it still sold really bad. So I was kind of bringing out those type of instances, like to where we got a solid port, but like the games just still didn't sell. So maybe that's what I should have highlighted a little bit more than anything. But even like when the developers, like people say, okay, we want a quality port. Okay, Wii U is new. Maybe it takes a little bit longer. For example, what was it? Need for Speed. They take a little bit longer. They make sure it's a good port. They put it out there. That still flops. Then people complain that it's old, even though it's only, you know, less than like a half a year or something like that old, you know? So that's the issue I have. And I mean, and we're seeing it with Resident Evil Revelations 2. You've got people complaining, and I don't want to get too off topic as far as our original thing, but I just want to make a point that a game that never came to a Nintendo system is coming to a Nintendo system. Like, oh, it's an old port. It's 2015. It's literally like a current or 8th generation, whatever you want to call it. It's literally just a port of a game with everything for $20, super cheap, and people are complaining that's not a good look for Nintendo fans. You know, and I know it's not everyone, but that's not a good look for us when you're complaining about a 2015 port. You know what I'm saying? But sometimes it's hypocritical because I was talking to a developer, and I won't name that person's name, but an indie developer. He's like, man, I wonder if they would have announced Grand Theft Auto 5, would people be complaining that it's an old port? Because that game's from 2013. Would anybody be complaining if Grand Theft Auto 5 came instead of Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2? You know, so that's what I'm saying. Like, there needs to be less complaining about just a simple port, and then people saying, well, I'm not going to buy this. Because if it was Grand Theft Auto, I guarantee you the same people who were saying that are like, oh, yeah, great, Grand Theft Auto is coming. Yeah, that's a super old port. Am I correct?
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And I mean, I don't really mind the Resident Evil port. I don't mind that at all. I mean, even the price point, I mean, I've told you this before, like, as long as the price, you know, scales with the time. You know what I mean? Because if it nowadays, I mean, a game will come out and literally 2 months later, it's down to $40. You know, any quality game. I mean, what was it? Injustice, $40. That game just came out. I mean, like, so 6 months, a year, 2 years, you have to, you know, you have to scale that pricing, man. You can't. People are not going to say, just because I'm a Nintendo fan, I'm going to pay double, triple the amount for a game I could get on the PS4 or the PC. Now more games are coming on the PC than ever, so it's a lot easier. I mean, Steam is like kind of, it's good and it's bad in a certain way because you can get really cheap games now. So it's, you know, it's kind of, the industry is kind of changed in that sense where you can't port a game 6 months down the line, a year down the line, and then have it the same price. Okay, it's out for failure, you know. And I do agree that I mean, you know, third parties did look at the Wii U and the way that they sold, and they said, okay, you know, and that's going to affect the, you know, Switch third party support. I agree with that. And I agree that it was a total failure. Just that Nintendo fans and this is I think the industry and all the gaming culture, they kind of think that Nintendo fans don't buy third party games. And I disagree completely. I think if you time it the right way, and if it's a good port, and if it's a good price, we're gonna buy it. We're just like anyone else. Just because we like Nintendo games doesn't mean we don't like other games. I mean, that's who does that?
I think the biggest thing which I agree with you. I think the biggest thing for a lot of people, or at least for the industry, is like the Call of Duty. I think that's where probably the biggest blow. Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed, from what I understand, from who I've spoke to, and like I said, this isn't the people who are actually working on the games, but just like I said, indie developers. Because indie developers, if you put the anonymity behind them, or if you put like the anonymous, they'll talk to you about things. Heck, anyone for the most part. You just got to make sure that you don't say their name. And like I said, I'm getting their perspective from who they have and friends like that. And a lot of people in the industry were really upset that the Wii U didn't do better with Call of Duty, because they felt that Call of Duty was promoted right. Call of Duty, was put out there, had some unique features with the gamepad. There's some stuff that you can do that you couldn't do on the PS3 and Xbox 360. Yes, maybe the single player didn't run as good, some frame rate, but overall, what do people play Call of Duty for? You play it for the multiplayer. You had voice chat, you had everything that you needed in the game, multiple controller support. It was great. I mean, I don't like shooters. I didn't buy it at launch just because I don't think Call of Duty's ever worth. A game that comes out every single year is never worth $60. In my opinion, if it comes out every single year, it's not worth $60. So I didn't buy it. I didn't buy it at launch, but I would hope that, I was trying to let people know, like, well, even if whatever the case, whether we're right or wrong, it doesn't matter. Like, I think a lot of people are at fault, but this is the reason why, like, as far as with Wii U, this is the reason why this is happening with Switch. Like, this is the direct correlation, because if Wii U, even if it sold like crap, but let's say all the third-party games sold 600,000 copies, which compared to a lot of the PS4 and Xbox One or PS3, Xbox 360 wouldn't have been great because those sell millions. But I think developers would have had far more confidence. Like, okay, well, heck, we sold 600,000 copies of this game, or 700,000 copies at $60. We have more confidence. It was just like the complete flopping, no matter what. Even when it came day and date, like a Splinter Cell came day and date. Both Call of Duties came pretty much almost day and date, like with Call of Duties. I know the first Assassin's Creed, that one was horrible. But then the second Assassin's Creed, Black Flag, there was just a number of games that came out, even when everything was lined up correctly, and it still didn't do well. Like Splinter Cell. I mean, Splinter Cell didn't do well on PS3 and 360 either. But people were like, I just felt that should have done a little bit better. I actually bought the game when it was discounted first. There was other games too, but like I said, I think we could both come to a mutual agreement that, like, it was kind of like I see where you're coming from. You know what I'm saying with you know, like with Nintendo fans, and like if you put the right situation, we'll buy the game as well. So I definitely see where you're coming from there. But then sometimes we do have that situation, and like the game still doesn't sell. Now with the Nintendo Switch, I just said that we have to prove ourselves, right? So like they're making us prove ourselves. There's no, I mean, obviously we would just like to get the same support as everyone else, right? I mean, that'd be cool. We don't have to sit there and prove ourselves or do this, but unfortunately, like I was trying to tell people, unfortunately, that's not what's happening, because this plan for the Switch was made 2-3 years ago, as far as what they were going to do, what Nintendo was investing in. You know, it was made a long time ago, so we're locked into this plan no matter what. Third parties and Nintendo, there's nothing that we can do. The only thing that we can do is help shape the future, which is making sure that we do buy the good quality games, and of course, Switch keeps on selling. You know,
and buy the poor quality games too. Ultra Street Fighter.
Ultra Street Fighter is not a poor quality game.
I didn't say anything.
Dude, it's just too expensive. It's just too expensive, right? It's just overpriced. But it's not a bad game. It's not a bad game.
No. Yeah. But
you're wearing a Street Fighter shirt. Are you wearing a Street Fighter shirt?
I'm wearing Capcom, baby. Look.
This man, that's the only time he wears this shirt was during this podcast. he had lighter food on it before he went on this podcast.
Okay, look. About Ultra Street Fighter 2, man. What were they thinking? And this is the thing, like, it's just I'm flabbergasted by this whole situation, because I thought that this was going to be a complete fail. You know, hey, they did. Honestly, they did the smart thing, because they sold 500,000 copies. So they did the smart thing. They duped every Nintendo fan, and every Nintendo fan bought it. I'm sorry, but they duped it. Come on, dude. You cannot defend this game, man, for $40. I just can't believe it, man.
I can defend my nostalgia. That's the thing that I can defend. Look, Capcom knew what they were doing, and I agree with you. I can agree now, looking over everything. Yeah, I mean, a bit steep, but you can honestly say, hey, man, like I got a version of Street Fighter 2 on a cartridge. Can you say that with anything else outside of like the Super Nintendo or Genesis?
I said that 25 years ago.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But you're saying that now, and then you can play it with your friends that are across the country or in other parts of the world. And
I was able to do that 4 years ago on the 3DS.
Wait, that's Street Fighter 4. That's not.
Yeah.
Street Fighter 4 is nowhere near iconic as Street Fighter 2 started it all. That's what I'm saying. Like you got to factor in cartridge, okay? You got to factor in cartridge. You got to factor in online play, balanced online play, okay? So actually a better game than what you played, and then you also got to factor in the nostalgia. That's what made the game sell. Nostalgia on cartridge, balanced online play that you can play against your friends. How many times you have a friend, they move away, they move to a different state? Like, man, I can kick your butt in Street Fighter 2. What? You can kick my butt in Street? No, you can't. No, you can't. I mean, and yeah, I don't even know if the servers for Xbox Live or PSN, are they even still up to play Street Fighter 2? I don't even know. Maybe a lot. Yeah, exactly. We don't know. That's what I'm saying. And now you're bringing it down on this new system, this hot system. You can take it anywhere you want. That's the reason why it's sold, man. I'm telling you, that's the reason why.
I agree with you. It's nostalgia is mostly the reason, but I mean, it's incredible, man. I just didn't think it would do that well. I honestly didn't. And you know what? Revelations 1 and 2, it's not so bad. I don't think they're bad games. I don't think they're bad decision, especially for $20. I think it's a really good deal, actually. Is it already confirmed that all DLC is going to be included for 2?
All DLC. Okay. All DLC is included for 2. It's basically a really late sorry to Nintendo fans. I personally feel, because Nintendo fans really wanted that game back then. But the state that the game launched in was horrible. I don't think any Nintendo fan would have wanted it when it launched, because we're talking episodic. We're talking about promises of DLC scattered all over the place. The raid mode was weird. The co-op was weird. I mean, you don't market a game like that and then do episodic. Like if you're going to have raid mode, you're going to have all these extra modes that are online multiplayer, then the game shouldn't be episodic. You know what I'm saying? Like if you're going to have an episodic game, then have an episodic game. If you're going to have a game that has multiplayer and everything that Revelations 1 had, online co-op, or no, Revelations didn't have online co-op. It just had the online raid mode. If you're going to have all that, then make sure it's a complete release. Don't split it up and break it up. So that's really what happened with that game. Not that it's a bad game, but it's because of the way that it was distributed was horrible, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just a bad. But yeah, they've finally obviously put it together. Nintendo fans probably get the best release, in my opinion, because you get the game portable and you get everything with it, and it never came to a Nintendo system for $20 and online play. I mean, that's pretty cool. It has actually online co-op too. So
the reviews for that game are the reviews for not for the entire episodes put together. It's just for the initial release. Because the reviews aren't as good as the first one.
Yeah,
so is that why?
Exactly. Okay. It's weird to some reviewers actually reviewed like the box copy they waited. Some reviewers didn't review just the episode, like each episode.
Like a Splatoon. It's like a Splatoon situation where they rated it when it initially came out, and then all the stuff came out afterwards, and then they
Yeah, some of them waited till like the box copy came out, because the box copy came out I think a few months afterwards, and it had everything on there. And then some of them waited for that. But either way, the way that the game was handled, it has a halfway decent score, because it's not a bad game. I actually like it. I played the original. I played the box copy on the Xbox One, but I stopped playing it because I don't know why I did, because that's what I do sometimes. I just stop playing games for some whatever reason or not. But yeah, I only played like the first episode, and it was okay, you know. But now that I have the full package, all the DLC, it's on the Switch, I'm definitely going to pick up Resident Evil Revelations 2. I want the cartridge. I mean, I've already beat Revelations 1, and I've already done everything in that game, but I want the cartridge. So unfortunately, I have to buy that, because I just want the box. That's all I want. I wish I can just get I wish I can just get Resident Evil Revelations 2 and a box and a cartridge with that, and I'd spend more for that. But unfortunately, you can't. All you can do is buy Resident Evil Revelations 1, the cartridge, and then you get a download code for 2.
Download code, yeah.
So
there's no future. There's no future plans to release it on cartridge, on physical.
No, there's no plans.
Sucks, man.
Yeah, it sucks.
How big is that gonna be? How big is that gonna be, though?
The games aren't very big. Resident Evil Revelations, it's not a very big game. Yeah, I think it'll be less than I know, but for Nintendo fans, it might be an issue for some. Trying to download that if you don't have a SD card.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like, I just think Capcom should have just shown up more, you know, done something else. Like they have such great IPs, you know, they have such great backlog of games that they could have just like rewrapped and remastered and just throw it on the Switch, you know, instead of like Street Fighter 2, man. I'm sorry, but
but they called it right, because Street Fighter 2 is iconic with Nintendo fans. So I mean, they look. I understand like the price, and I understand like I definitely see where you're coming from, dude. But you can't sit back, like after looking at the sales, you can't sit back and say, okay, that was a bad call.
No, it wasn't.
Yeah,
it was the right call.
Yeah, it was the right call. So I mean, but I agree with you. I think like a Devil May Cry collection, you know.
Yeah, man. It's like you were talking to real gamer. I mean, they have such great games. Power Stone series. Remember Rival Schools?
Oh yeah.
That game is awesome. Like all these someone said the other day, Maximo on the PS2. That was an incredible game. They have such great backlog of games that they could just rewrap, throw on the Switch, and people would just like go crazy on these games, you know, like that's what I want to see. I don't want to see a 25-year-old port, you know, and hey, Revelations is good. It's a good step, but we need to see more. I still think that these third parties, I mean, they're looking at these sales now. Now they have no excuse. You know, before the excuse was, oh, we have to see whether or not this is going to sell. They have no excuse now. They got to throw in throw in their towels, like throw in what they're going to bring to the system. Actually, put some effort into it, because I don't. So far, I'm not seeing it. You know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, from what I've seen so far, yeah, I'm definitely not seeing like 100%. Effort, but that's because it takes the time to do this. Like they didn't know the Switch was going to be successful. They had no clue. They thought potentially, I think Japanese developers did. I can tell you Koei Tecmo knew that it was going to be successful, because they started porting Knights of Azure 2 to get it out day one. And that's a big game for them, for Koei Tecmo. Knights of Azure 2 is coming day and date with the PS4, you know? I know Koei Tecmo was like, hey, we're going to have, Nobunaga's Ambition Tashi. That game is coming day and date with the PS4 and PC version. So Koei Tecmo knew, like, they had their games ready. Plus, they even went to Nintendo to say, let's do Fire Emblem Warriors. That was their idea, not Nintendo's. So they knew the system was going to be, a success. Square Enix to a degree. I would say, yeah, Square Enix knew the system was going to be a success. They have multiple games coming out this year, or they launched with the system with I Am Setsuna. They have Lost Sphere coming out early next year. They have Dragon Quest coming out probably next year. So there was some Japanese developers that knew it because of the portable nature. But Western developers, I mean, they abandoned the 3DS when they found out this thing's going to be a portable, like, and a home console. I think for some of them that probably put more doubt in their mind than the Wii U. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. So I mean, I think that's where and like I said, I don't agree with it 100%. I still think some developers who make games that would be, you know, a fit for Nintendo systems, I still think they should have had a little bit more confidence, because I honestly don't feel the Wii. I mean, the Wii U got some great games. It got some great third-party games, but I feel that the focus wasn't there. I mean, people were wanting some bigger RPGs. People wanted Skyrim, you know, on the Wii U. We never got Skyrim, but Nintendo made up with that. Better late than never, I guess, right? With Skyrim on the Switch that's coming out, and I think that's going to do well, because people like Skyrim. I think Nintendo fans do. There's all the cosplay, or not cosplay, but art of Link versus the Skyrim dude. You know, it's all out there. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's something that Nintendo fans are gonna be like, okay, we'll buy that, you know. So I'm hoping going forward they take, you know, like what you're saying, like, hey, you need to put some more effort, you know, in there. Ubisoft is there a bit, you know, they've got a little bit there, but, you know, a lot of just ports, you know, older ports.
I think they, out of all the third-party developers, I think they have contributed the most, and that's with Rabbids. I think that is the kind of stuff that we need to see from third parties, like just like original stuff, you know, just try to work with Nintendo, maybe work with their IPs like that, you know, like stuff like that is what Nintendo fans, that game is going to do really well.
Oh yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and to bring it back to third parties, like, I just want to be clear. I don't think that the Switch necessarily, me personally, from my, you know, my point of view, I don't need a bunch of third-party games on my Switch, but I know that that's a lot of people. That's what they want, you know.
Well, what third-party games do you want on the Switch? Let's stop talking about other people, because I think that's something that a lot of people like to do. They like to talk about, oh, well, this is for other. What do you want? You know what I'm saying? Like, for you personally, because you spend your money, you're not spending someone else's money. You know what I'm saying? You're spending your own money. So what would you like to see?
Well, that's exactly what I was said. You know, I want developers to work with Nintendo and to make original titles, you know, that have, you know, brand new stuff that people haven't seen before. Bring it on, but like quality stuff, not like just little cheap games. You know, like big AAA games that you can't find anywhere else, that you can only get on Nintendo, and that are just original concepts, like that Mario Rabbids stuff. Like that is what I would like to see more on the Switch. Now, do I want like Dragon Ball Z, the one coming out? Yeah, I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna buy it. I haven't played it yet, but you know, I have a PC. You know, a lot of people nowadays, they don't just have one system, and PCs are really cheap. You can get, you know, Steam is just crazy. You can get a bunch of third-party games on it. It's not that. To me, it's not as important as it was, you know, 10 years ago to have all this third-party support. It's just not. People just don't have one system. I mean, the percentage of that, I mean, I'm sure there are out there that they can only afford, you know, one console, and then they want all their games on that console. I'm sure that's the case in some cases, but for the most part, I think people just branch out and just get a bunch of stuff, you know? I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, I agree. I definitely don't feel like, especially in today's age, stuff has gotten so much more common, right? Steam is, to be honest, Steam is, pardon the pun, steamrolling everyone. In the gaming, like money, Steam is absolutely obliterating everyone. Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony. Nobody makes more money off of games and sales than Steam. You know what I'm saying? Gabe Newell, he's a multi-billionaire. He's richer than a lot of people even know or think. Like, he is stacked. I think he's worth like $4 billion. He's worth $4 billion. How much do you think Steam is worth? If he's worth $4 billion, Steam is. It's just, and that's the thing. Steam is just so common. It's so much cheaper. It's, for some, easier. And these boxes, the PS4 and Xbox One, are really crappy PCs or crappy PCs. So if you want to not pay $60 a year, if you want to get cheaper games, if you want to get installs faster, you want everything more efficient, Steam is easily the way to go. And you're seeing that shift, because Microsoft and Sony, if we're just talking about PC boxes, are getting absolutely destroyed by Steam. So I agree with you in that sense that it's just, 10 years ago, I think it was more important, or even when the Wii U launched, right? I think it was more important even back then. So we're talking, 5, 6 years ago, whatever the case is, it was more important to have the third-party support. But now, because Steam is just so much cheaper and just these freaking consoles turned into PCs, to me, it diminishes, okay, well, why should I buy on PS4? Because it takes up your HUD. I got a huge, multi-terabyte HUD, whereas on my PS4, I got a 500 gigabytes, So why should I put up my money towards the PS4 when Steam is cheaper? And I can still get a box version on Steam if I want one, You can still get physical. You just plop it in there, but it works the same. So I don't know. I agree with you there, man.
And I want to talk about a couple things. One is storage space. And when it comes to, because I know this is going a little bit off topic.
That's okay. Go off topic. It's okay. Go ahead.
All right. But one thing I want to address, and a lot of people are like, oh, the Switch, doesn't have any storage space, right? Because it only comes with 32 gigabytes. Most of the games you can get in cartridge form, and you don't have to download, a 20 gig patch or a 10 gig patch. From what I understand, I don't own an Xbox One or PS4. But do you have to download every single game that you buy? Don't you have to download like a 30, 40 gig patch?
Well, every game. Do you have a PS4 and Xbox One? Real quick.
No.
Okay.
No.
So yeah, every game essentially you have to download that game to your car. It takes up your space no matter what. Even if it's physical, it takes up your space. If it's digital, it takes up your space. And that's the first thing you do. You plop that in there, and most games, yes, have big patches. A lot of the big games, whether it's Gears of War, has nearly that game is over 100 gigabytes, of space. When you get your Xbox One or your PS4, they say 500 gigabytes, but you don't get 500 gigabytes. The OS takes up 100 and something gigabytes. So you really only get 300 something to work with. So within a game or two, depending, especially in today's day, with all the DLC and patches and things, you might only be able to fit 3 or 4 big games before your hard drive is done. I installed Gears of War, installed everything. I literally had 100 gigabytes left, 100 something gigabytes left after 2 other games. So you're going to run out of space if you have 100 or 500 gigabytes. And if you have a terabyte, then you're a little bit better off than before. But eventually, you're going to run out of space with physical games. You know what I'm saying? So yeah.
And that's what I thought. And I'm not trying to be favor one side more than the other, but there's always that response there. Whenever you see anybody talking about the Switch versus the other one, they always see that, oh, it has no space. It's like, yeah, but you actually need that space on the PS4, Xbox One. There's no option. You know what I'm saying? That you need that space no matter what. Whereas Switch, there's an option. You can get it in cartridge form, and you don't need to take up that space. You don't have to buy that. You know what I'm saying? That's only if you go all digital. But again, that is an option that you cannot have on the Xbox One or PS4. Whereas there, you need that extra hard drive space. So I always thought that was kind of funny how people bring that up.
Yeah, it's a silly argument, and I think I made another video where I really was like, that's, why are people, out of all things to complain about with the Switch, why are you complaining about space? You have the option to go physical, and the console works like it's supposed to work, like a console. You know what I'm saying? And that, I put out a tweet on Twitter. I was like, modern gaming is really I'm starting to really shun modern gaming. And if I'm going to do this whole, third-party thing with big third-party games or whatever, I'm just going to go with Steam, because I have a very nice iBuyPower PC I bought 2 years ago, the GTX 960, 4 gigabytes on the card. I have a nice CPU, i7 CPU. I got 16 gigabytes of RAM. I mean, I can play all the games that come out today. I can play them 1080p 60, or I can at least play them 1080p 30, So for me, it doesn't make sense to continue, to just have to worry about, because you know what I'm doing with my systems all the time, Andy? I'm constantly, if I get a new game and I put it in there, I constantly have to delete a bunch of other stuff, for it to do that. And the terabyte hard drives are obviously more expensive. So even if you're trying to get back to comparing between the Nintendo Switch and other consoles, the SD cards that you need for the Switch are cheaper than what you'd have to spend for a big hard drive to connect to your PlayStation 4 or Xbox One. They're cheaper. You can get SD cards for a lot cheaper. So even if you did need that extra space, you can get that on the Switch for a cheaper price as far as an SD card than a PS4 and Xbox 1 TB hard drive. And on that, but those hard drives, man, that's a whole other story as far as getting into the hard drives and like what they do and how they can fail. But yeah, man, I definitely agree with you there. It's a little, I don't know about the modern gaming. I don't know, as far as how it's going. I'm not liking what I'm seeing because it's a PC. It's a cheaper PC, but it's more expensive in the long run because you have to pay for $60 online, right?
Yeah.
And whereas PC, it's free.
Right. And that's the thing. I mean, I think Nintendo, they did the right thing with releasing the Switch because of the gaming climate nowadays. Like, I think that the way to go was what they did, was portable hybrid. Because otherwise, if they would have released a console and tried to do the same thing that PS4 and Xbox One was doing, I think it would have just failed completely. Some people wanted that. And to be honest, I kind of did too, because I wanted like a super powerful Nintendo console. But looking back, I'm like, it would have been good for me, but would have attracted everyone else. I don't know that. I don't think so.
I'm not sure. It could have suffered the same fate as the Wii U. We don't know. I mean, the games that came out, I think would have made it popular. But the problem, because the issue with Nintendo particularly, is that out of any of the companies, they're the most split between Western and Eastern. Sony, most of their fans are on the West. Microsoft, almost all of their fans are on the West. So they can cater almost 100% to that fan base. Whereas Nintendo, not the case. Nintendo, actually, most of their fans, or a good amount of their fans, are in Japan because portables, right? The Nintendo 3DS. So Nintendo was put in an almost impossible situation. Like, what do? We have this huge Japanese fan base, right? 20-something million units of 3DS sold. We have this huge fan base, but then we also have a huge fan base in America. So we need to make a device that caters to both of them somehow, So Nintendo was in a tougher spot, I have to agree. If they made a pure console, maybe it would have, obviously it probably would have been selling okay if they had the same amount of games like Zelda and all that. But in Japan, it wouldn't have. Just playing, so people would be like, all right, well, I can still play Dragon Quest on my on my 3DS. I can still play all these 3DS games, that are still coming out. Atlas just announced Persona Q2, So I think it would have sold significantly worse in Japan, and that's a problem because it's already over 1 million units in Japan. I think it would have been at maybe 500,000, 600,000. It would have been that. Even that, because it took the PlayStation 4 a lot longer to sell 1 million units, and PlayStation 4 got good Japanese support. Like, they delayed the launch of the PlayStation 4 for it to get better support. It had Yakuza, it had a number of games come out for it. It even had more Japanese developers supporting it. I would not as much as Nintendo Switch so far, but still, it did have Japanese support. And Japanese developers continue to throw things on the PS4, and it's still not selling. I mean, it's selling, but I mean, like last week in Media Create or in the Famitsu charts, PS4 got Dragon Quest 11, and it still got outsold by the Switch.
Yeah.
and it got Dragon Quest, So that's the thing. Like, Nintendo would have had to deal with that. You get this huge game, and you still don't outsell the portables. Both portables, Switch and 3DS, outsold the PlayStation 4 in Japan. So
yeah, and I think it also, it's interesting that you noted that. I didn't even think about that. That PlayStation 4 has most of its fan base in Japan, Xbox in America. That's kind of interesting, and Nintendo's kind of in the middle. Mm-hmm. But I think it's interesting because this kind of opens a door for them. It being a portable device, it just leaves a possibility that if you did have to choose a third-party game later down the line, when everything catches up and now we're getting third-party games released at the same time as Xbox One, PS4, now you have an option where you're like, wait, I could get it on the PS4, but I can get this portable version I could take anywhere. And that's something that it wouldn't have had if they would have just competed the same way and just had a home console. Then you would have been like, I have a PS4 ready. I don't need a Nintendo console, a home console. I already have this. I don't now. Oh wait, the portable device. Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Especially for people who travel. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And man, if you're traveling, Nintendo Switch is easily the choice. I mean, we've seen WWE wrestlers, without being paid by Nintendo, by the way.
Yeah, MMA guys too.
MMA guys just having their Switch. I mean, like I said, even in like the documentaries, or if you're watching the what was it, the Ultimate Fighter, not Ultimate Fighter, I think it's called Ultimate Fighter, whatever.
So, yeah.
Yeah, some of them just have their Switches just chilling right there. I mean, when they pan the camera, I mean, like I said, not paid or anything, and people just have it. It's just one of those things to where if you're traveling, which a lot of people in America, I mean, in Japan too, but a lot of people travel. A lot of game journalists and stuff, people, are far more positive than they were with the Wii U when you just have this console, sitting there. But you have this PS4, you have this Xbox One that do everything better. But PS4 and Xbox One don't do portable better because they don't do it. Well, they do it, but it's trash.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Microsoft Solutions is the worst. Like their whole Windows Surface tablet that costs like $1,000, by the way.
But I just don't understand anything they're doing now, because they released all their games, so you don't even have to have an Xbox One. Is that correct? You don't have to have an Xbox One to play Xbox One exclusives. Is that my wrong about that?
You're not every game, but most games, yeah, like Gears of War, Halo Wars, not Halo 5, but yeah, a lot of the games are Windows 10 and Xbox One, and the reason for that is because this is just okay. Now let me go off of this real quick, but this is just my own personal belief, is that Microsoft sees the writing on the wall when it comes to like the home console trying to be that console that everyone buys. They see the writing on the wall. They want to get into that PC market too, that lucrative
PC
market.
Because they're coming up with the X.
But that's just another option for people, right? That's just another high quality or option for people to get it more like PC, maybe to get a PC gamer over there. But like you're saying, I don't understand it either. Look, I mean, even what I just explained to you right now doesn't make too much, like, it doesn't really make sense, right? But that's what I'm thinking, but I agree with you. Like, it doesn't really make sense either. Like, okay, well, do they really want to? They're releasing another, powerful console, but it's a PC. That thing is the most PC-ish thing out of all the systems. It's a PC, and it's in a box. It's a Steam box, but it's a Steam box without actually being able to run Steam. So it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I think they're just trying to get into the PC market. I mean, you can make more money if you have Windows 10. They're trying to market the whole Microsoft brand, because I think Microsoft, they're just really worried about their brand at this point. I don't feel that they have any passion for gaming, in my opinion. I think they have passionate people for gaming that work for the company, but overall, I see Xbox, even the Xbox division, just being around because, well, Microsoft, we want the brand, we want to be in gaming because that's more valuable to our brand, because Microsoft is worth how many billions? Does anybody even know how much they're worth? They're worth crazy amount, so I think it's just for that.
Do you think that the fact that Minecraft came to the Nintendo system, do you think that's kind of like a forwarding, like maybe this is the beginning of them bringing all their IPs to just becoming just like a third party?
Well, that's what I was kind of alluding to a little bit, right? Yeah. Like them just saying, like, eventually at some point, maybe they will continue to make a system because they can if they want to. They have so much money now. Budgeting wise, obviously they don't have unlimited money, but they have enough money to do things. So maybe eventually they just say, yeah, we just put out a system because we want to, but we're going to publish games wherever we feel like it. You know what I'm saying? Or we're going to put games where we feel like we can make money. I think eventually, yeah, that could, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, they just say, screw it. Like, I don't care. We're going to put games on where we feel it is. I mean, they've done this before. They put Viva Pinata on the DS, because they felt this would be a good for us to have on a portable system. This is like for kids. Viva Pinata back then was popular. There was a TV show, it's funny how things die so fast because Viva Pinata used to be a big deal among kids. And they put that on the DS, and they said, we're going to put it on the DS because we want to. So I think, yeah, in the future, if they feel that it's valuable for them to put their IPs on Nintendo or on Sony, they'll do it, man. They'll just do it and just be like, okay, well, kind of waving the red flag or the white flag, but not saying it. But I think you're kind of seeing that, right? With Minecraft, you're kind of seeing that with, like I said, they've done it before. And they were really close to putting Halo on the DS too. Ooh, man, they were close. That almost
came. I didn't know that.
Yeah, there was a feature with IGN. IGN first said it. It was back when Matt Casamassina was working there and Mark Bozon. And they were saying that, yeah, like Halo could come to DS, and people gave them so much crap. So then eventually they actually brought in the prototype of Halo running on the DS, and they were playing it right there. Just Halo, you're on the beach, And it wasn't fake. It was Halo running on the DS. So Microsoft was that close to greenlighting that and getting that going. So, yeah.
Wow. I mean, and you look at their IPs that they've canceled, like Scalebound and stuff. Like it's kind of like they're just giving up. Like everything shows. I mean, Scalebound was supposed to be like an awesome. Even I was excited. I'm like, man, that looks pretty cool, and nothing, man.
Yeah. One of the Purple Baller Deluxe in the chat says Microsoft would make way more money if they just went third party. To be honest, their online service is keeping them of Xbox afloat, that's what Xbox is. It's the brand, it's the service, and that's what they're good at. I mean, heck, they're better than everyone at that, right? Xbox Live is a pretty good service. I'll admit it's pretty good. It's not worth $60 to me in today's age because of PC and Steam. It's not, I mean, but like 3 years ago, I would say, yeah, it's worth it. 10 years ago, yeah, I'd say, yeah, it's worth it. All throughout the Xbox 360, yeah, it's worth it. But Steam has caught up very quickly, and I'd even say surpassed them because it's just PC. You have more access to stuff if you're playing on a PC compared to Xbox Live. The voice chat quality is better on PC. The voice chat quality, it's not great on Xbox One. Just everything's just better on PC if you're going to be a total PC gamer. Compared to Xbox One, but they do have that. That's the one thing that they do have. I mean, they could create services for people. They can create apps for people. They'd probably make a ton of money doing that. But the one thing that I would say is that going third party, to go third party, you'd have to actually make games to make some great games. Or maybe they can make engines. I'm not sure. Maybe they can turn into like an Epic, they make their own Microsoft engine, then license it out to people. I think Microsoft could go into that in the future. I think that can be very profitable. Epic is, I mean, they were paying Cliffy B like $20 million a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's how rich they were, So, I mean, before Cliffy B left, but I mean, they were paying their executives make tons of money, just from doing Unreal Engine 4 licenses. So maybe that's Microsoft's future. But I don't see a future in them where it's like the traditional Sony and Nintendo, because Sony and Nintendo actually make games. You know what I'm saying? And Microsoft.
And why did they keep trying in Japan? Why try? Like, why even try? Just give up. Just get out of there.
I think it's purely for business purposes for overseas, right? Like if you want Code Vein that's coming out, or if you want some like Kingdom Hearts, if you want Final Fantasy,
Monster Hunter World.
Yeah, Monster Hunter World. Like you gotta you have to at least release your system in that country to show good faith if you want to get those Japanese games, which they're getting. And so far,
but this is the thing. Why would Capcom be okay with that and not be okay with porting it to the Switch? Even if the Switch, let's say the Switch is ho hum, and even if they didn't know it was going to sell this much, they're going to sell more copies on the Switch than they do on the Xbox. I mean, it's gonna happen.
And I think they know this. The thing with Monster Hunter, which a lot of people don't know, which Capcom revealed, but a lot of time when Capcom says stuff, people like to focus on the negative, which is fine. Capcom is obviously a shell of themselves. But the thing about Monster Hunter World started development, I think in 2012 or 2013. That's when Monster Hunter started development. So well before the Switch was even a thing. Capcom is a notoriously cheap company, notoriously cheap. If they planned and budgeted something 3-4 years ago, whatever the case is, they are not going to just open up a budget to add another platform in, even if it's Switch. They're just not going to do it. I personally feel Capcom is going to make a Monster Hunter 5 portable. Now, the same guy who leaked Monster, because the thing about it, we found out about Monster Hunter World at E3. People were surprised, but there was a guy who leaked Monster Hunter World 6 months before that even. He leaked it at the end of last year, Monster Hunter World. He said, hey, there's a big Monster Hunter game coming. It's coming to PS4, Xbox One, and PC. Might be exclusive to Japan as far as the PS4 goes. That's what he said. And he said that back in, like, I think October or November of last year. Nobody took him seriously. And then E3 came about, and he was right. Now, the same guy says that, hey, Capcom is their Monster Hunter teams are stretched, but Monster Hunter, they're making one for the Nintendo Switch. They just said they're making one for the Nintendo Switch. It's going to be not Double Cross, but a brand new Monster Hunter. And he also said that the Monster Hunter World announcement, I guess, caused a little bit of infighting between, like, not having something out on the Switch sooner as far as a new Monster Hunter game. So therefore the consolation, at least for Japan right now, was Double Cross. It was like, okay, get Double Cross out. So there was a lot of, and like I said, this according to this guy could be wrong. You never know. But he was right on Monster Hunter World. So I'm not going to sit here and discredit what he says, you know, with the other games, like what he's saying, what's going on with Capcom. So we're getting Double Cross, maybe just Japan, and then we're going to be getting a brand new Monster Hunter. I'm just going to call it Monster Hunter 5 Portable. I'm just going to call it that, or Monster Hunter 5 Portable. We're getting a brand new one, a custom made one, not an because that's an x86. You know, like Monster Hunter World, that's PC, PS4, Xbox One. That's an x86 system. We're getting a different one, you know. So
but
that's what
according
he says.
to NVIDIA, it would be super easy to port from x80, even if it's an x86. According to them, it's super easy to port over.
And that's where Capcom, you know, their cheapness, you know, comes in. Them just saying, well, we're not going to rebudget for this. Let's just do something different. Let's just do something. Let's just put this out here because we think that we can probably make more, maybe on even a less of a budget if we just make a game that's custom made for this. Because I know, like for example, like EA was like with what was it, FIFA. You know, that's x86 on the PCs and all of that. And then they just said, well, let's make a custom engine for FIFA this year for the Switch. Since it is, you know, a portable system, just make a custom engine for it. And the results are much better than what they did with the Wii U, you know, where they used the PS3 360 engine. The results for FIFA. It
looks good, man. I don't really like FIFA, but I played it. And it looks amazing. It looks like a better version than a 360 PS3. It looks like an in-between PS4 and the last generation. But it looks amazing. It looks really good.
That's the thing that some developers are facing with is like, do we just make something custom for the Switch because it's easier to develop on? You know, we can make a custom engine. Maybe we get a custom engine going in 7, 8 months, 9 months, and then we get the game. You know, we already have the assets and everything. Then we just port them to the system and we just put them on there. Or do we just port our x86 and we just port that over and maybe run into some more problems? EA decided, let's just make our own engine. It'll be better. We can get a better game. And they got 1080p 60 docked, you know, 720p 60 undocked. So to me, I'm like, some developers might want to do that. So that's what I'm thinking Capcom's going to do with Monster Hunter. It's like, well, we can port this x86 game, but then it's just the same game. What if it comes out late? Will the sales not be as good there? What if we just make a brand new game and put that out there? Don't you think that we can make more because it's not old? You know, it's something new for the fans. So that's what I'm thinking Capcom is thinking. They're just, people are upset because nothing's announced yet, right? And then on top of that, Double Cross isn't, like for right now, Double Cross isn't planned to come over, so people are upset. But the chances of Monster Hunter not coming to the Switch, you know, worldwide in some capacity are slim. I would say it's 0%. You know, like it's,
and I never agreed that Capcom was done with the Switch. You know, I didn't say, yeah, they're done. They're not going to make any more games. But I was just thinking, like, can you blame someone for coming to that conclusion? Because of all the stuff. I mean, Mega Man Legacy and all the Disney Afternoons collection, like all that stuff. It's like, yes, I understand it takes time. Yes, it's an x86, but so was the first Legacy collection and 3DS's ARM. So they were able to get that to it. Yeah, it was a few months later, but they were still able to get to it. And the Switch is a lot easier to develop for than the 3DS. I mean, I asked the developer there at E3, because I asked him, I'm like, how easy is? He's like, he told me this. He was like, this is the easiest game system I've ever worked on. Mm-hmm. Easier than PlayStation 4, easier than Xbox One. Mm-hmm. We got this game working. It's hold on, the game is called The King's Bird. And he's like, we got this game working on this, and like, he's like, in 2 or 3 weeks, we got it completely working. But they were still working on the PC version. When he's like, we were working on the PC version, he's like, and we were able to work on the Switch, so we ported it over, and they're still working on it. But see, while they're working on that game, they were able to port it over and just continue developing that game. So why wouldn't other companies? That's a small company. I understand it's a small game as well, but other companies, you know, the scale is also bigger. They have more employees. So why wouldn't they be a company like Capcom with almost 3,000 employees? Why wouldn't they be able to scale that, and why won't they be able to just, like a game like as small as Mega Man Legacy Collection, why won't they be able to just port it over, especially that it sold more on the 3DS than it sold on the other systems? And that's what I don't understand.
And the thing about that is that the companies, Capcom, they outsource those, right? If I'm not correct. I don't think they actually make those games. Those are outsourced. So when you're outsourcing, does that company have, like I said, I'm not trying to make excuses for them, but did that company have the dev kits, 2.5 years ago or a year and a half ago? Did they have the Switch dev kits? Did they know the architecture? Did they know everything going into it? Were they given the money by Capcom? So I just think once Capcom kind of sets their sights on something and they have it planned, they're just going to go with that. And if they have no problem waiting to port, that's the thing with Capcom. Maybe they don't come right now. That doesn't mean they're not going to come later. Look at the PS4 and Xbox One. These bums are porting Resident Evil Revelations to the PS4. These guys are porting Resident Evil Revelations 1 to the PS4 and Xbox One. Why? like they've already ported it to the PS3 and Xbox 360. Look, I can understand porting to the Switch because you're going to get the double pack, right? You get Revelations 1, you get Revelations 2. That makes sense. But these dudes, like, their port, and the Switch is obviously a newer system. People that are buying it are not the same people. But Revelations 1 already came to the 360 and the PS3. And they are reporting Revelations 1 to the PS4 and Xbox One years and years and years later after they already ported it to the PS3 and Xbox 360. They are porting it again. So that's what I'm saying. Like, so just because Legacy Collection is not coming now, like these bums at Capcom can port it later.
Yeah, but and that's true. And yes, but ultimately it's still their decision. No matter what happened, no matter how they got to that point where they decided not to port it over, ultimately they decided to do that, and they have to live with the fan base outcry. Like, they have to live with Nintendo fans going, dude, I played this game 20 years ago. I want to replay it, and yet you're giving it to the competitor. You're not letting me play it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they have to live with that. They're gonna, yes, whatever decisions that they made to get to that point where they didn't port it over, it doesn't matter. The point is it's not there. Nintendo fans are seeing it go to other systems, and they're like, I want to play this portably on my Switch, and I can't. It's a cheap game. It's not like it's, Monster Hunter Worlds, you can understand. It's a huge game. It takes a lot of time to develop, but these are all really old games that, but then again, they gave us Street Fighter 2 an overpriced game. One game for $40, where Mega Man Legacy Collection 2 is 4 games for $20. And it's just like, people look at it in that way. People look at it as in that way. So that's why Nintendo fans are mad.
And it's I'm really happy that we're having this discussion, because the way that you explain it now is so much better than Twitter can ever be. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Twitter, you can't explain yourself right in Twitter.
Yeah, it's 140 characters. Yeah. You don't see, facial expression. You don't see, mannerisms. There's so much more stuff to communication, right? Heck, I took communication in college, so I know. And I always love doing communication, face to face, because the way that you explain it there is just so much better than Twitter. Not saying that you had a bad explanation on Twitter, because your explanation was exactly what you just said right now, but it's just better to see you and you talk about it, because it makes perfect sense. You're right. People are going to see it that way. You know what I'm saying? These are old games. You know what I'm saying? They came to Nintendo systems before. Why isn't this game, even if it's old, even if it's just old games, which I was just saying, oh, well, they're just old games. It makes sense what you're saying. So, I'm probably going to change my opinion on that. I have to agree with you. But like I said, this is why Capcom is not the Capcom that we knew. And that's why I made that video. Capcom will be Capcom, because people need to understand that Capcom is no longer that company that you can count on, because on the PS2, Xbox, and GameCube, you can count on them. Oh, yeah, man,
and that's the thing. And that's the thing. And I thought I had an aha moment with you, because I was like, oh, I'm just gonna look at PS4 and look at their releases on Capcom and see. And I went, aha! And then you're like, dude, there was like a year and a half of time from the first game that they released on the console's debut, and the next game, I'm like, oh, right, they do suck. They have sucked for a while now, and I'm wrong about that. I was like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, and the PS4 had record sales. You would think that a company, look at these sales. Let's rush out to our PS4. They brought nothing to that system.
Nothing.
They brought Strider, which was essentially a PS3 game. They brought Strider, which was somewhat early. But it was a downloadable, it's a smaller game, whatever. It's still a good game.
And they did nothing for a year and a half.
Yeah, and then they did nothing.
Incredible.
They did DMC. They did DMC.
Oh,
the remaster that nobody wanted. There's not a single that thing sold like trash too. It sold absolutely bad. They remastered something that nobody wanted. Like, oh, all the DLC people like, we didn't want to play this single game in the first place. You know what I'm saying? Like, we didn't want to play that game in the first place. So they remastered that, and then it was blank till Resident Evil Revelations 2. And then obviously we saw how Resident Evil Revelations 2 worked out. But even still to this point, what are the big games that Capcom has released? They're just now releasing stuff. Resident Evil 7 this year. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, whatever you want to call it. I mean, I guess that might be good. It might not be good. People are saying it's bad. They're just releasing that this year. Like, it's been how many years since the record? I mean, PlayStation 4 has 60 million plus, and their support has been bad. It hasn't been good with 60 million. So, and like I said, and on top of that, and I said this in my video, Capcom will be Capcom. Capcom, they hemorrhage their franchises. Like Resident Evil, I swear to you, I swear that's not Resident Evil. I swear that's not a Resident Evil game. I swear that is a freaking PSVR title, and Sony and Capcom came to agreement to make it Resident Evil in order to try to sell PSVR more. I swear to God that was going to be a new IP that was called Scary Game PSVR, you know?
And you pulled up the other day that, you know, Capcom had the RE engine working on the Switch. There was a certain, and then someone else said this the other day. There was a certain time, and they made sense between when Legend of Zelda first came out and then when Mario Kart came out. That time right there would have been perfect for Resident Evil 7. And it seems almost like Sony just kind of bought their way and kind of bought the port block to Switch. I mean, what do you think about that? Because they had it. If they asked specifically for more RAM just to run the RE engine. I mean, and granted, I think that they said that I read somewhere that that's going to be the engine from now on, you know, for all future Capcom games. That's going to be the main engine. But still, they specifically asked for more RAM to run Resident Evil 7 and then not port that over. It doesn't make any sense.
The Resident Evil games, like just in the future to have that support. I mean, obviously, if you're Nintendo, I would just obviously, I mean, at that point, I would say, yeah, you take Capcom's word for it. Even if they don't bring something over, that extra RAM is going to be valuable to other developers. So overall, I mean, I think Nintendo was going to go with 3 gigabytes of RAM because most tablets have just 2 or 3. But I think Capcom said, can you do 4? You know what I'm saying? So I don't think they asked them like to do it like a ton, but I mean, that's a lot more money that you have to put into the system if it's just going to have 4 gigabytes of RAM compared to 2 or 3. But I do feel, because if a game, you know, Miyamoto has said, which isn't 100%, they said maybe about a year to port a game. Resident Evil 7, if they wanted to port it when it finished on the PlayStation, because if it goes gold in December, then it launches in January, and then you start porting on the Nintendo Switch, it would take a year. I don't think they'd be able to, with the dev kits going out so late, I don't know if they'd be able to have that game ready and optimized for the Nintendo Switch in that time period. I just don't think they would have been able to.
But that report that says that that they were working with them and they were testing the RE engine, like they said that report, when it came out, they were talking about past tense. So it was in the production stages of the Switch that they were trying that out. Because when that report came out, which was back in January when they said that. Was it January? They said that they were running the RE engine. They said that that was just at a conference and they were asked that. But they said, yeah, back when we were testing it out, we were testing out the RE engine. So if anything, like and you know, the time I don't think it would have been an issue to port it over. I just don't think so. I mean, especially like, okay, Miyamoto said that a year. But he wasn't talking about like little games, right? He wasn't, because I mean, small games you've seen, they've been ported over 2 months, 3 months complete.
I think he was just giving a general, like mid-size, small. I mean, because if you look at a game like Thumper, for example, that was a PS4 and PC game. It's an indie game that took them 6 months to port over. And he's like, yeah, we ran into some problems like 4 months in. He's like, but
that's a VR game.
Thumper?
Yeah, that's a VR game that was put on the Switch as a regular game.
Yeah, it's on PS4 though. It's on PC and PS4. So I mean, you can play it regularly without VR though.
Oh, you can? Okay.
Yeah, it can be played regularly. It's a music rhythm game. So that took them 6 months to do, and that's a smaller game. And they have a pretty nice sized team as far as to port over. I mean, they don't have obviously not as big as Capcom, you know, but they have a good sized team in order to port. Drool, I think the developer is Drool on that one. So for Resident Evil, if the game, you know, is done as far as in December, or, you know, and it goes gold, at that point, you have to start porting over. I mean, maybe you could port during, to where you're porting over assets during the development of the game, but that makes it increasingly difficult when you have to add in another system during the development of the game and a new system. So I'm not trying to make excuses for them to say that they couldn't have got it done, but I'm telling you that Capcom, being Capcom, who they don't like to change their plans or add it into the budget, especially with Resident Evil, because that game was a budget title when it comes to Resident Evil in their terms. You know what I'm saying? It didn't cost anywhere near as much as Resident Evil 5 or Resident Evil 6. Those games were actually, they spent more money on those games than Resident Evil 7, and they took Sony's money to make that game, you know? So I just think that they're looking at it overall. I mean, there's lots of factors. Heck, maybe like you were saying, you know, the port block from Sony, because I swear, I think Sony told them to make a VR game, and then Sony said, we'll give you X amount of money if it's Resident Evil. You know what I'm saying? Like to market. I mean, you put PSVR 2 times in the box. Like, who does that?
Yeah.
Like, you put PlayStation VR compatible. Oh, you put the thing on the bottom of it. It's literally a walking advertisement.
Just in case you didn't see the first time.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I put on there. Just in case you didn't see it at the top. Okay, you can use PlayStation. Oh, and it's on the back too. You know what I'm saying? Like, they douse PlayStation VR all over it, and to me, that's a blatant. Like, this is an advertisement for Sony's PSVR. Sony paid them for maybe half of the development of this game, like to include the, I mean, I don't know how much. So maybe that's what stopped them from putting it on the Switch, you know, or stopping development. I mean, you know, faster than what they do. Do I think Resident Evil 7 can come? Of course I think it can come. Will it come at some point? Maybe. Maybe it comes
not for $60.
Yeah, not for $60. Exactly. Maybe they put all the DLC, put everything, you know, and put it on there. But I'll be honest, I probably still wouldn't buy that game. I refuse to what they turned Resident Evil into. That's despicable in my opinion. It's I don't want to see it. I don't want to touch it. I feel almost as bad as like Devil May Cry fans. You remember the whole Devil May Cry controversy with the new Dante? I don't know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? The Marvel vs. Capcom Dante?
Well, that one's ugly as hell, but I meant
and it
like,
just looks bad.
I meant like, you know.
Oh yeah, that he looks completely different.
Yeah, like they changed it over from, they got Ninja Theory to make the DMC Devil May Cry, which is just like a completely different universe, but it's Dante. And like he looked like a punk rocker, like on crack or like on meth or something like that. And Devil May Cry fans, like he didn't have like the traditional white long hair. You know, he wasn't Dante.
White hair.
Yeah, he had like the European faux hawk cut. You know, like I don't know how to describe that Dante's cut, but he had that. And Devil May Cry fans went berserk. Now I didn't go that crazy, but when I saw Resident Evil 7, I was not happy. I was like, where's my cool buff Chris Redfield? Where's my suave Leon? Where's Ada? You know, where's my cool Resident Evil character that I see in third person? Why am I in first person? Why is this game so slow? You know what I'm saying? Like, why am I not doing third person shooting? Like that, I mean, that's when it finally hit me a little bit ago. I'm like, this is a PSVR game that they rebranded into Resident Evil 7. But that's just my opinion. You know, that's just like, I have no proof. So
what do you think? Do you think that if that's the case, if they did, you know, port block, do you think that similar things could be happening with other titles, like a Mega Man Legacy Collection, like a
because that
really pisses off Nintendo to a point where they're like, maybe I should get a PS4 because if I can't play any of these old games on my system, maybe I should get a, you know what I'm saying, or like a Monster Hunter Worlds, you know, stuff like that, because they have an iron grip on the you know, in the gaming system right now, but they might start seeing it slip away, not completely, but they might start seeing a chunk of it slip away with the portability of the Switch.
Well, I think a lot of these developers are really seeing that. If you're in Japan, there's no way you're not seeing that, right? Like if you're in Japan, you're seeing what's going on here. And I think the developers are starting to say, okay, we need to get more serious. So I think in 2018 and 2019, you're probably going to see the best third-party support a Nintendo system has got since the GameCube. I mean, we're not talking about handhelds. I mean, because obviously the DS got ridiculous support. Like it got Western support. There was a ton of Western games on the DS. Mm-hmm. So we're not talking about that because that was back before smartphone gaming, right? Before when developers actually put small budgets onto Nintendo handhelds. So before that, so console-wise, it's probably going to be the best since the GameCube. I think going 2018, 2019. I don't know if they'll reach the GameCube level, but it's definitely going to be maybe near that. That's what I would guess for third-party support and Japanese support for sure, because Japanese developers see what's going on. You know, like I said, Koei Tecmo, they saw it. They saw it from the very beginning. You know, and they're like, hey, we're here. You know, and so yeah, I think going forward, you're going to see better. It's the whole. I guess for some people, it's a little annoying because you have to wait. You know. And maybe some people are upset because people didn't have more faith in the system, you know.
And look, and okay, like I could understand if there was. I'm not like that either. Like I could get how people are mad, and I just want to see third parties in, you know, put the effort in because the Switch deserves it because it's doing so well. And as far as like me having stuff to play on the Switch, man, come on, there's so much. Like this is not the time to complain that you don't that you don't have anything to play. You could complain that third parties, you know, they're not giving you the respect that other consumers are getting, like the PS4s and Xbox Ones, but don't complain you don't have nothing to play because Nintendo Switch right now has amazing games. You know, there's too much to play on it. You know what I mean? But as far as that goes, like just having third parties treat you the same way, that having the option to get a game that you would want to get that you can get somewhere else. You know, I think that's what people are kind of mad about.
Yeah, and I agree, man. I mean, it would be great if, you know, Nintendo just got everything and third-party developers really just kind of latched on. But I mean, some of them are really stubborn, man. Some of them are really stubborn. The business people, they're like, okay, well, but it happened with the Wii U. But like some of them even go as far back as the GameCube, man, and will start bringing up crap. Like, oh, well, our game didn't sell well on this thing, you know what I'm saying? Or this didn't happen here. And I think we're seeing it's really accumulation of things. It's a combination of just everything. It's just a combination of just the stereotypes of Nintendo fans. The fact that the Wii U didn't do well. The fact that nobody saw it coming. The fact that it's not x86, so it's not easy. It's not super easy. It's not like PS4 to Xbox One easy. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, we actually have to port it. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, it actually takes more time. Oh, we're using an ARM CPU. I know how to code for ARM, but I have to write more lines for ARM. I mean, compared to x86, oh man, I could just drop my whole game. It's like 60, 70 gigabytes. Oh, wait a minute. I have to think about cartridge space. Oh, wait a minute. I have to optimize. I have to make sure that my space on my game isn't 500 gigabytes. You know what I'm saying? It's all the little things combined with everything that makes some of these third-party developers hesitant, because I'm not trying to say that they're lazy, but man, some of them just don't want to do the work. Like look at the file sizes. The file sizes shouldn't be as big as they are.
NBA Playgrounds? Come on, get out of here.
File sizes in general, like for the bigger games, shouldn't be like Horizon Zero Dawn, I think is 40 gigabytes, right? There are games like Horizon Zero Dawn is a huge game, right? That's 40. There are games that are way bigger than Horizon Zero Dawn, like as far as file size, but aren't bigger than Horizon Zero Dawn.
Right.
Because the developers didn't want to optimize and take out certain things and have to write code in a better way to reduce the file size. So that's the thing that you run into with the Switch, is that you have to do ARM. From what I understand from coding, ARM is more efficient, more power efficient, but you have to write more lines of code. x86, easier. So if you're porting, it's like, oh, I got to do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? Not that it's hard, because you know how to do it. Any competent or, you know, any efficient developer or competent developer can code for ARM. It's not a big deal. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But ARM can be more precise than it's right. At least that's what I've been. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But you have to do a little bit more work for it to achieve the same results or better. So that's where I see developers are getting kind of lazy. Is like they don't want to do all of that combined with the crunch of their game and stuff like that. It just doesn't work out for them. You know, I think a lot of them just wish that Nintendo made an x86 system, like make it like a PS4 clone. They don't care about the sales of it. It'll just be easier to just put their game on there. You know?
But then it wouldn't be able to be portable. And if it would be like 30-minute battery life, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like, I think a lot of these developers don't give a damn if it's portable. They don't care.
They don't care, but they should care because it affects their sales. I mean, you know,
Japanese developers care. I mean, when I say developers, I'm talking about Western developers here.
Yeah,
Japanese developers, they have no problem. I don't think they have a problem with ARM at all. All of them said that. I remember there was an interview with Dragon Ball Xenoverse 2. One of the ladies that works for Bandai Namco, and she's working on Dragon Ball Fighters. And one of the Western press, I think a French guy, was like, "Hey, well, we heard that they're having problems with Xenoverse 2 and it's hard to develop for, and that this is the reason why this isn't coming over. And she was like, what are you talking about? First of all, I don't know who told you that. Like, I don't know who told you that the Nintendo Switch is hard to develop for, or that we're having problems. That's not the case. We're working on Xenoverse 2. It's going to be out. And she's like, and power isn't the problem with Fighter Z. You know, if enough people request, we'll definitely do it for you. And you saw that big surge of people requesting for Fighter Z. So it's going to happen. So I think Japanese developers will say that. Whereas when you talk to Western developers, some of them are like, oh, well, you have to do some extra things. Like they get real fidgety and sometimes butthurt when you talk about Switch, not because it's hard, but it's because, oh, well, we have to do some extra work. You know what I'm saying? Like, so that's the difference that I've seen. Not every single developer, not every single, but some have said that in some of the interviews. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, okay, just can you be honest and just say, yeah, it's extra work to write like the code for ARM CPU. You know, just say that you have to do a little bit extra to get the efficiency results. Oh, and you're gonna have to optimize so to where your game isn't 500 gigabytes, you know, big. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, I think if I just wish they're a little bit more honest with us than just, you know, being the way that they are sometimes. But I mean, like I said, we'll see how it works out. You know? Yeah.
I mean, Xenoverse 2, I guess it also. Or Fighter Z, I guess it will affect the sales of Xenoverse 2, how well that does. But I think that's going to be that's a good port, man. That's $50. I saw the Steam sale for Xenoverse 2 the other day. It was on sale for $48. Now, that did include like a lot of DLC. I don't know if this is going to include a lot of DLC or not.
It doesn't include all the DLC, no.
Okay, but it does include the campaign for the first game, so that's pretty cool. So you basically get Xenoverse 1 and 2 for $50, and it's portable. That's the kind of stuff that you know, ports that make sense. But we can't have any more of this like Wii U nonsense. Mass Effect 3 coming out at the same time of Mass Effect Collection for the same price. Yeah, and it's a worse version. Like you can't have that nonsense anymore. It just can't happen.
Nonsense. I mean, it was nonsense back then. I mean, I talked about it. I was doing YouTube back then, and I said it was nonsense back then. I said it was. I was so vocal about it. EA sent me a freaking copy of Mass Effect 3 and was like, okay, well, maybe you know it's $60 and whatever, but it's a good port, and they're right. Yeah. It's not a bad port of Mass Effect.
Was it so bad?
It's not a bad port per se. Like the way that it runs.
Yeah.
I was like, I mean, because I was like, oh, it doesn't run better than the 360. Oh, it does this. Like I was just going off, you know. And they're like, okay, well, play the game, see how you see for yourself. And I'm like, okay, well, you know, they have the off TV play. It's not a horrible port. It runs okay, but the problem. The problem is that it still doesn't run better than the 360 version, and it's $60, and it doesn't come with all the DLC, and you don't even have an option to buy the DLC. Like, it's just.
And it came out like a week after the special edition for the 1, 2, and 3 came out.
Yeah,
was it the same price? It was around the same price.
It was the same price.
Stupid.
Yeah, it's stupid, right? It was just really, really dumb decision, you know. So. When a developer like Capcom, you know, in the first year of the Switch, they do Resident Evil Revelations 1 and 2 for all DLC for $40. They're blowing away EA with that. So I think developers are having a little bit better, in my opinion, you know, when it comes to third-party support in the first year. Obviously, it's not been the best, but it's been, in my opinion, better to what Nintendo fans want. And we're actually getting everything, like when the games do come, like, for example, like Disgaea. You know, Disgaea got all the DLC. You know,
it's a great port.
Yeah, great port, fantastic port. I'd probably say it's better than the PS4 version. So because you can play it portably. I mean, you're looking at the games that are coming out now, and at least like, you know, a lot of indie or smaller titles, but at least some of the bigger ones that are coming out, they're doing it right. They're not doing it the wrong way. They're doing it the right way. Whereas with the Wii U, they did it the wrong way. Like they did it the wrong way when it came to things, man. But yeah, do you have any other thoughts or anything you want to bring up as far as the topic goes, dude?
No, man. I kind of wanted to ask your opinion about something.
What's up, man? Go ahead.
Do you think think Nintendo has something up their sleeve?
Oh, the Super Metal Day thing. Did you see Super Metal Day's video?
Yeah. I'm not saying he's lying, or I'm sure. He knows people. He knows, like, he does know stuff.
Absolutely.
But what do you think it could be? Like, what do you think what do you think it's about?
Dude,
your opinion.
After watching Dave's videos, I have no clue.
We're all going to be hooked up to the Matrix. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I mean, I think we might all be hooked up to the Matrix right now. I mean, I think that might be what's going on right now, dude. The Wii U was just a bad dream or somebody unplug me real quick. But to be honest, man, it's hard to say what I think it is. I don't know. What do you think, dude?
I mean, I could think of something crazy. I mean, a crazy thought is maybe Microsoft and Nintendo are going to join. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the Xbox. Maybe the Xbox. That's crazy. I know. Maybe the Xbox One X is the NX. Nintendo Xbox One X.
It's Xbox One N. Xbox One N, and it's all the third-party games can be transferable from your Xbox to your Switch.
I don't know. That's a crazy thing. I mean, what else could it? I mean, they're not going to come out with another piece of hardware. I don't think they're going to come out with another piece of hardware. The Switch it would be stupid to do at this point, I think. I mean, whether it be a home console or portable, it'd be dumb to take away the attention that the Switch is getting right now. I don't see that as being a good move at all. I mean,
it could be. I mean, we've seen the patents, right, for the supplemental computing device. You know, we've seen that. It could be that. It could be, you know, you plug this Switch into a dock that boosts the power of the system. I mean, that's something that it could be. You know, it could be a new Nintendo Switch. You know, the new Nintendo 3DS is more powerful than the regular 3DS, you know?
But he said it's going to be something that a lot of people are not going to like. What does that mean? I mean, if there's a, you know, if there's something to that.
But he also said something that that he's excited about. Didn't he?
Yeah.
So people aren't going to like it, but then he's excited about it. What does that mean? Like
That's what I'm saying. The only thing I can think of is because David's always wanted a powerful system, you know, like to compete with the PS4 and Xbox One. That's what he's always wanted. And not that I haven't wanted that either. I'm just saying that's what he's always talked about. Okay. So that's what I'm saying, because the Xbox One X is coming out. I don't know, man. That's the only thing I can think of. Other than that, like a VR thing, I mean, I could think maybe the Switch being like a VR compatible. That would be kind of cool. I mean, 720 screen, I don't think that's going to look that right. But yeah, hey, it's not so bad. It's not so bad.
No. Okay, if they did make Switch VR, I'd need a Cyclops game, like X-Men Cyclops, where you're just going, just blasting people. I would want that. I mean, you look retarded playing. Sorry, I shouldn't use that word. People that play VR look stupid.
They look stupid. Look so stupid. Oh my gosh.
I was watching my sister play back when the Samsung VR came out, and she was like, "Hey, Francis, look." The hell out of her. I was like, "Stop doing that! Like, you look stupid." And then I played it, and she pushed me, and I was like, "What?" And I was in the game, and I was like, "Oh, is this like going on for real?" This is VR. Just, I mean, and after that day, we never put it back on again. You know,
I don't see it. I mean, like, it's gimmicky, man. In the sense that, like a 3D gimmick for the 3DS, it's a gimmick, but it's kind of cool, and you could take it off, and it's not a big deal. Like the portability aspect of a Switch, it's a gimmick, but it works. It's a useful gimmick. You know, like the Wii Motion controls, that was kind of, you know, but VR is kind of rough, man. You putting, like, people that play video games don't play it like 30 minutes at a time. Most of the time, you know, they play for an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. You're gonna have that thing strapped to your face for 2 hours, 3 hours?
No. I was done after 15 minutes. Like, I was playing a shooting game. I was like, I wasn't queasy, but it was just not something that you want to do. I mean, I didn't even want to put on sunglasses for 3D TVs. Like, I didn't even want to do that, putting on sunglasses for 3D TVs.
And people were saying that was the future. Oh, 3D game. My friend had a PS3, and he was like, "Oh, check out this 3D game." I'm like, "Oh, it's pretty cool." And I never saw him play it again. It was that one time. Never saw him play it again. I just don't think it's. I don't know. I don't see the future in it. Maybe, and people, you know, they'll argue that, you know, technology is getting better. It'll have better. Maybe so. But right now, as it stands, no way. It's not. I don't think it's an option. It's gonna work. So I don't know what that could be. I don't know what that could be.
I don't know what Dave's talking. I mean, some people in the chat, they're like, which, I mean, I want to take some questions real quick. Andy, do you have time? Just take a couple questions.
Yeah.
Okay. So one guy in the chat was like, he thinks it's going to be like a 1080p Nintendo Switch XL or Nintendo Switch, like a new revision of the Switch that's more powerful, 1080p screen, 8 gigabytes of RAM. So just a more powerful Switch, you know, because the Tegra, I just don't know what Tegra chip are they going to use for that. So, I mean, I don't know, guys. But anyway, all right, if you guys have any questions, let us know. Andy's going to be here. We're going to be here for another 10 minutes or so, 15 answering questions. If you have questions for me or Andy, let us have them and we'll answer them. So I'll put that in the chat too. All right, so Og MC, who's a moderator for me, says, do you guys think the rumored direct is real? What do you think, Andy?
The what? The rumored direct? Yeah.
Third party direct.
I think so, yeah. Why not? Yeah. Why wouldn't there be one? I mean, I don't know. What do you think?
Liquid. To me, I think there's probably going to be a direct. But just moving on, so we can get through these questions. Liquid Metal says, "Where's the cream?" And he's talking about Ambi cream. My face is still kind of shiny, guys. I wear cream. I have to wear this stupid cream.
Come on, be honest.
Yeah,
I got a little emotional.
No, I didn't.
Come on, no, I'm just kidding.
No, I did not. It was not. I was fine. All of a sudden, my eye just got red. This eye right here, my right eye just got red. And I swear, the cream that I put on, it's hot in my room because of the lights, and it just went boom, and my eye just got red right there. It was the worst timing. But but yeah, I got super emotional with That's exactly what happened. The brother made me cry. Rude Freelink or Fredlink, I don't know how to say his name, says, do you hope for Bates and Kato's remake? It'd be nice. What do you think, Andy?
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yeah, bring them all on.
Yeah, bring everything. Bring them all on.
Everything.
Let's see another questions here. Purple Baller Deluxe says Retro Studios 3D Donkey Kong. He's talking to someone else. Never mind. New Inazuma says new DK game. Would you like a new DK game?
Man, heck yeah, 3D Donkey Kong game. Yeah, like Donkey Kong 64. Like
he's just saying DK. He's just saying any type of DK game. And
I don't want a 2D. 2D's enough. 2D. Yeah. No, I want to. If anything, even like a Donkey Kong 64 remake. You know, with HD graphics in the same, like the same way like Crash Bandicoot, like just at a lower price, like that would be amazing.
But Andy, you do know that you have a family now, you have work. You can't spend all day collecting stuff, right? Do you think that you like that game as much now than you did back when you were a kid and we were playing? So when I think you're probably a teenager. We were teenagers back then.
Yeah.
Do you think that you would like that game now because you're gonna be collecting everything, bro? Do you have the time to do that now?
Yes, because I could do it while taking a crap, and I take various craps throughout the day. I get paid to take a crap, so while I'm at work. So yeah, I could do that now.
Before I stopped working at my last job, dude, I had extended breaks. Like, bro, my bathroom, I would be in there for like 15 minutes. I was like, in the bathroom. You got a problem? Yeah. I have my Nintendo Switch right there, bro.
I'll call HR. I need my bathroom breaks.
Right? Yeah, I know. You guys can't sit here and say that I can't take a bathroom. I can't use the bathroom. Come on now. Okay, so next question. Let's see here. What year is Super Metal Dave in?
What year was The Matrix in? The Matrix is in 1999, but it was actually in the future. It was like 2200 maybe.
When I was watching Dave's video, I was like, did this channel get hacked? Like,
that's cool. I liked it. I thought it was cool. Pretty cool.
It was awesome, but I was just like confused by the whole thing. Like, I don't think I was even listening to what he was saying. I was just like, what's going on here? Like, I came out of that video confused as hell, and I was just like, all right. I turned off my PC and went to sleep. I did nothing else. My mind was blank. I was just like, okay, it's time to sleep. All right. I have no clue what year he's in. I just thought that was a funny question. Let's see. Eric Dahlbear or Cheeser says, hey guys, when do you think the next direct will be? September? When do you think the next direct will be?
Man, it could be early September because there's a lot of games, a lot of third-party games coming out mid-September, late September. I mean, I think that's the most since the console's launch that we're gonna get. We're gonna get Xenoverse, NBA 2K. What else? Is it Skyrim? No, is Skyrim coming out?
Not Skyrim. We have what was it? We have the Pokken tournament.
Pokken,
yeah. Well, that's Bandai Namco and Nintendo, but there's quite a bit of games coming out in September. So it's gonna be pretty good. Yeah. So maybe they're gonna drop a direct. Maybe they're gonna drop a direct there or October. Shunny 11 says plans for Retro Death versus PlayerEssence debate in the future. Probably not. The problem like with Retro Death and me is that we were different nationalities, so sometimes it's tough to gauge like the joking part of it. Like when I say something, it seems like I'm being offensive. And like I don't know if we're gonna have another debate, especially after like even the last one that I had with Real Gamer, the discussion when I said that Retro Death doesn't know anything. You know, he kind of got mad at that, but I meant that in a way that like, you know, when two people debate like on TV, like Skip Bayless and
hey, you don't know nothing, man. Get out of here like
that.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah. Doesn't mean
like it was like
you don't mean that he actually knows nothing. Like, you know, his brain is empty. No.
But in other parts of the world, that's not the same meaning. You know what I'm saying? Says, you know, nothing. He's from France.
Oh, from France. Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So when in there, it's like when they say you're disrespecting them when you say that.
Send him a bottle of wine. Send him a bottle of wine. That'll be fine. Some cheese.
Yeah. So I have to get over. I have to first calm him down and make sure everything's cool before that because well, like I said, we're getting too much into it. But I have no issue with Retro Death, and if he's watching, dude, sorry about that. I already told him sorry, but sorry about that again. I didn't mean it. I didn't mean it that way. I meant it in a debate talk show host. Skip and Shannon, you know, first take, you know, something like that, you know, undisputed. I meant it that way where they say, man, you know nothing, but they don't.
Yeah, like the other day, I said something like that on Twitter where I was like, man, nobody had a Genesis back when I was young. I didn't mean literally nobody. Like, obviously, the console sold a lot. But people took it as, oh, no, this guy said there was no Genesis. Like, no, that's not what I meant. That, you know, that's how people talk.
Yeah, but it's just tough with Twitter. You know what I'm saying? It's tough with Twitter. It's tough with, you know, different nationalities, things like that. So yeah. What up, Nintendo Ultra? How's it going, man? All right, let's see here. Nobody's making fun of Super Metal Dave. Okay, we're not.
No,
we're not making
fun
of him. Okay,
no.
So someone
I respect that guy. He's a good guy.
I respect him too. He's a great guy. He runs a great channel. So nobody on here is disrespecting him. So
no.
Okay, a couple more questions here. I'm trying to look through. People are just kind of just saying stuff now. Yeah, okay. Well, Liquid Metal is saying that Retro Death isn't from France. He might live there, but he's not from France. Okay, well, I know that's where he's at right now at this point, right? So, whatever. Who's buying Crackdown 3? I'm definitely not.
No.
Buying Crackdown 3?
No.
Is it coming to the Switch?
That looks no, that looks bad, man.
It doesn't look good. Terry Crews looks awesome. I'll give him that. Terry Crews looks great. I mean, for how old he is, I mean, he looks great. But if they made a Terry Crews game, I would totally. If it was actually Terry Crews, I think I'd buy that. Like a Terry Crews game, like where you're like the axe guy, or like Spice guy.
He dances and you can dance and stuff. With the glow sticks?
Yeah, with the glow sticks.
Awesome.
That guy's an amazing actor, by the way.
That guy.
He's great.
Incredible, man.
He's great. He made people actually care about Crackdown for a little bit.
Yeah.
I was like, man, this might look good. But then after like the ad went, I was like, wait a minute, no, this sucks. Like this game's probably not going to be. Let me get past the Terry Crews. Game's probably not going to be. I mean, but to be fair, it might be a good game. I don't know. It just doesn't.
Yeah.
Right now. When is Runner 3 coming out? At the end of the year. It's going to be at end of the year. I think it might even be a December title.
People are excited for that game.
I'm hyped. It was my number 4 most anticipated this year.
I've never played it, but is it just a platformer? What is it? It's just
it's a platformer, but it's like it's a rhythm. It's a music rhythm platformer.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Yeah, like you're just running, and then like you jump, you slide, and you dance. When you dance, you get points. When you jump over something, you get points.
Oh, okay, that's cool.
Like, and that's what you do. And like, it seems so simple, and which it is, but then you play to the music. You get these like gold bars and stuff, and then the music gets better, and like you're going, and it's like a rhythm. And then at the very end, you blast off into like a target, and your guy just goes, bing, just sits right there.
That's cool.
Yeah,
right, I'm sold. Yeah, that's it.
You want to just, and the worst thing is like when you do everything perfect, and then like you don't get the bullseye on the target, and you're just like, oh, I gotta play that level over again. And it just gets harder and harder and harder. And this is an indie game. This is a small indie game, and I put over 100 hours into that game. That's not a Minecraft style. It's not like, okay, well, you can just kind of continue to do everything, you know. like Minecraft, like it just never ends. This game actually has an ending, you know, and I put over 100 hours into it just from doing leaderboards, and just it's an amazing, and you see the growth from where they started, because they were one of the grassroots developers with WiiWare. Like they were one of the original like WiiWare guys, you know, that made Bit Trip Runner, which was just like an 8-bit pixel Bit Trip, you know, and then they evolved it into Bit Trip Runner 2, and then now it actually looks like a very high quality game now, you know, like the graphics are great on there, and it's Nintendo PC exclusive, so it's going to be a console exclusive for Nintendo. So,
cool.
Yeah, that game's gonna sell like crazy. By the way, it might break like 500,000 like very quickly. So yeah, it's going to be really good, because Bit Trip Runner 2 did really well on the Wii U, and that was Wii U. So yeah. Wow. Yeah, I'm super excited for Runner 3. A lot of people here giving some love to Runner 3 in the chat too. So yeah, a lot of people are saying it's endless. It's on your, like, it keeps you on your toes. It's just a great game. I love it. I might stream it. I might stream it. So we'll take a couple more questions, guys. AugMC says, what do you think about NBA 2K18 being digital only on the Switch for a few months? It's not good, but it's just something that you have to deal with, you know? So
I mean, how big is there's no file size just yet?
Yeah, we don't know the file size just yet, so we need to see the file size. But for some people, it's definitely going to affect them, right? Like, you want to have that physical cartridge out, you know, the same.
Dr. Trey was saying that it could be possible that larger capacity carts are going to be available at the end of September or something like that, or October. That's why there's so many huge third-party titles coming around that time, because that's when they become available.
Yeah,
maybe
there's been some cart issues with Nintendo Switch as far as developers being able to get a certain amount of carts. How many? I mean, heck, we've seen indie developers say, well, the reason why we haven't been able to do this is because Nintendo said, like, hey, maybe, you know, like, hold off on this. So yeah, that could definitely be it. So it's going to affect it, but I don't think it's going to be like, I mean, I don't think NBA 2K was going to be one of those games that people are like, oh my gosh, Switch version in the first place. You want to play those with your friends, and like NBA has just been absent from Nintendo platforms for a while now, you know. But I do feel that, you know, NBA 2K, it's one of those games, since it's a basketball game, you might want it digitally anyway, you know, since it's one of those games where maybe you might pick it up and play for a bit, then you put it down for a while other Nintendo games come in. So yeah, it's unfortunate, but at the same time, it's like, I don't think many people are really gonna like, you're not gonna see any people.
I don't know, man. I know a lot of my friends that I kind of like got into the Switch and everything. They're all excited for it, you know. And a lot of people bought Playgrounds, man. A lot of people think that game, and a lot of people were mad about it too. I think that was just a little sample, and they're waiting for that 2K. Yeah. But we'll see.
I also think that people like Playgrounds too, because NBA Jam, that started on the Super Nintendo Sega. So like, people have the fond memories of NBA Jam. Like, I know the owner of Go Nintendo RMC, like, he doesn't know anything about sports, but he likes Playgrounds. You know, I don't think he's going to buy NBA 2K, but I mean, I see what you're saying though. I think there are some basketball fans that are looking forward to that. You know, maybe maybe it's going to sell pretty good, 100,000, 200,000 copies, whatever the case is, you know, so we'll see. Rude Freelink again says, what do you think the Tales game? I have no idea. I think it's going to be a new Tales game. So yeah, man, I have no idea. What do you think? Tales? Are you into Tales at all?
Yeah, I'm the older stuff. Yeah, but it's just an action RPG, right?
Yeah.
I don't remember. Yeah. I want him. Bring him.
Bring him over, baby. Bring him over. So people are talking about Mother 4. We're not going to talk about that. We were not Mother, just Mother in general.
I don't know.
So yeah, I mean, let's see. I'm trying to go through some of these questions, because some of them are just kind of like, meh.
Mother 3, I want them. You know what I want them to do, which is not going to happen. I want them to take what they started on the 64, take that engine, continue it, and just remake Mother 3 with the same engine they made the Nintendo 64 version.
That's cool. I think that'd be fun. Is there a rumored release date for Skyrim? There was, but it ended up being incorrect. But I would think, yeah, Skyrim's like a late. You know, I would say it's going to be like a December or November title. I don't know. The thing is that we're running out of months now. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're running out of months, and there's still all these games that are coming that are already confirmed. So it's going to be packed the last half of the year. It's going to be a madhouse to get a Switch. So if I were you, and if you still don't got a Switch, or if you're, I hear some people saying, oh, well, you know, I'll just get one later. If I were you, I wouldn't wait, because the last half of the year is insane. You know, Mario plus Rabbids. Like I said, we talked about NBA. We talked about Pokken Tournament. We have Fire Emblem, Xenoblade, Mario Odyssey, Skyrim, FIFA. I mean, there's just a number of games, and that's going to attract a lot of people. So I would not wait, you know, at all. You're probably not going to be able to find one in November. November, they're going to be sold out before you even. Yeah. You're going to be camped out there if you want one on shipment days, because November is going to be insane, especially like with Mario still, like, you know, there's them still promoting it. Then Xenoblade and Fire Emblem Warriors, man, it's yikes for people who don't have one at this point. People are talking about No More Heroes. That's next year, guys. We have no clue what's going to happen with that. Yeah, Skyrim's this year. Skyrim isn't February 18. Nobody said that. It's all been confirmed for this year, Skyrim. Just no month yet. If you're okay, we'll take this last one, then we're gonna bounce. Alicio Blanco says, if you were able to remaster any 5 GameCube games, go ahead and you can take that, Andy.
Oh wow, Fire Emblem. What is it? Radiance. Path of Radiance, is it?
Yeah. Path of Radiance, something.
Yeah. You know. Mario Sunshine. Melee HD.
You gotta have the typical Melee in there. You gotta have Melee in there.
Metroid Prime. And this one no one's gonna have this. Future Tactics. It's the only game. Future Tactics. I love that game, and it's a badly reviewed game, but I love it. It's a tactical. It's like a Final Fantasy Tactics kind of game, and kind of like Fire Emblem, but you could zoom in on enemies and zoom out. It's really cool. I mean, if you can't pick it up if you have a GameCube, but yeah, I would like that game. What about you?
5 GameCube games. Custom Robo, remaster Custom Robo. I would definitely want that. Metroid Prime. I'm gonna just throw in a Wii game in there too. I mean, Metroid Prime, the original Metroid Prime, that would be cool. But like not remaster, as in like remake. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, complete remake. Like grab everything. Just throw it in there. I would love for that. I don't even need Metroid Prime 2 or 3. Just remake the original Metroid Prime.
Just the original. It's the best one.
Best graphics that the Tegra can do. I would love that. I'd probably say Skies of Arcadia. Like, oh man.
Oh yeah.
Skies of Arcadia. That would be a great one. Beautiful Joe.
Oh yeah.
Some type of that game looks so good. Even if you just put it in 1080p, it would look amazing. Beautiful Joe, and probably something like Metal Gear Solid Twin Snakes. I think a Metal Gear game, Twin Snakes would be solid, man. Those games would be great. But there's a lot more that I would want, obviously. There's all sorts of stuff. But yeah, man. I mean, definitely those. That's a great question. I didn't expect something like that. Just kind of had to come up with something out of nowhere. But I'm putting a link in the description, guys, or in the chat. Make sure you guys follow Andy's channel, please. All of you guys, if all of you guys right now, we got 158 people watching. I know some of you guys already subscribed to him, but heck, even at least if half of you guys went over to Andy's channel, I just put the link in there. Make sure you subscribe to this man because he does some great stuff on his channel. So Andy, I want to take this time just kind of talk about your channel, why people should subscribe, because I think we shouldn't just say, oh, well, subscribe for no reason. Why should people subscribe to your channel, and what are your plans for the future? Because I know you've grown quite a bit. I think you're at almost 250 subs.
Yeah, around there. Yeah.
So why should people subscribe to your channel, and what do you bring to the table that other people don't?
Well, I try to make videos, especially lately, just analytical videos, like especially like how things fared in a financial aspect when it comes to video games. So like my last video was about, I can't even remember, but I did a few videos about Metroid and how it sold throughout its lifespan, stuff like that. Also, just regular gaming stuff. But it's gonna come from a place of I'm a Nintendo fan, but I'm not going to just give them just the benefit of the doubt every single time. I'm going to call them out whenever they're, not doing things the way they should be doing. I'm trying to look at things in a realistic way. So if you guys appreciate that, I would like it if you could stop by and subscribe, and that would be really nice.
Okay, great, man. Yeah, and like I said, I've been subscribed to you back when I was one of your first subscribers.
Yes, you were.
Yeah, I think I was in the single digit. I might have been in the single digits.
I think you were.
Yeah, I was definitely in the single digits of subscribers. And now you have 250. So
Wow.
so I think with Andy's channel, with the Nintendo community, I want to highlight the good Nintendo YouTubers, and he has a fantastic channel. And I think the more people that subscribe, definitely you're going to get better content. You're going to get better content. It gets people more motivated, because no matter what anyone says, like, it's tough. Like when you're doing videos and you see other people and like, man, that person's getting so many subscribers, but what about me? You know what I'm saying? And I got some great videos too. And it's really just about, I think your channel is doing great. You know what I'm saying? I think your channel is doing great, but I think that, just getting out there a little bit more would be good too. So that's the reason why I've been wanting to have you on for a while. I mean, we talked about this months ago, right? I think we've been talking about this for a while. So I know you're happy with the channel, and I'm happy with it too. I think you have some great content on there. So if you guys can check out his channel, make sure you subscribe, heck, share his videos, follow him on Twitter as well. I think it's at
it's Colloco.
Colloco, yeah, at Colloco on
it's Colloco. It's Colloco.
It's Colloco, yeah. So follow him on Twitter as well. He has some great opinions on the industry. He has no problem, kind of cutting in there, like he said. He doesn't care how many subscribers someone has. A lot of people get all scared of people with more. He doesn't care. He'll challenge anyone. He'll say anything to anybody because he's a real dude. You know what I'm saying? He's not.
Listen. I don't mind looking like an idiot in front of people. All right, I don't mind it. I've done it all my life. I'm really good at it. All right.
Hey man, I think people would say the same thing about me when it comes to what I'm saying, but I don't know that I'm looking like an idiot. Like people say, man, OJ, he's an idiot. I'm like, well, maybe I am, but I'm still here making videos. You know what I'm saying? I'm still here. I'm still doing this because I genuinely care. The people who quit, the people who don't want to do these, is because they were just looking for money in the first place. You know what I'm saying? They were just looking to see if spark plug, and then once their channel doesn't do well or whatever, they stop talking about video games. They don't want to post on Twitter anymore. They bounce. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to do videos. They don't even want to do one video a week or one video a month. They're just done. Those are the people who never really had passion to make content in the first place. Because it's tough. It's tough, especially with the Nintendo community. Because
you also want to bring the best that you have every video. So it's kind of hard to. You don't want to just put a crappy little video out there. You want to do a good quality thing, and that takes time, man. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes a lot of research. So
takes a lot.
I appreciate you inviting me here. Thank you so much. We had a great talk. I think we had a great talk, and I really thank you. Thanks everyone for watching as well.
No problem, man. Thanks for coming on. Thanks for not backing out. You were very flexible with the schedule as well. I had a little bit of a family issue this morning, so we had to push it from 12 to 12:30. That's why we were a little bit late starting up. I had a little family issue, but Andy was very nice and said, yeah, no problem. He's taking time out of his day. He has a family. He has stuff that he has to do too. He's busy guy at work, taking his weekend up almost 2 hours now, us talking. So I do appreciate you, Andy, and I would be more than happy to have you back in another one at some point, man. And just we can evaluate and talk about things and see how things are going from there. But hey guys, just want to give you guys a quick heads up. I'll be on the Spawncast tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, so that's 6 p.m. Pacific time. So if you're where Andy is, if you're on the East Coast, that's 9 p.m. Eastern. I'll be on the Spawncast talking to dude. He's told me, I don't think he's ever told me his first name. But
Spawnwave?
Yeah, Spawnwave. But I don't know. He hasn't told me his first name yet. I don't know if he ever even says his first name in his videos. I'm not sure. Anyway,
I don't know.
I watch his videos all the time. But anyway, I'll be on this podcast tonight with Spawnwave, and probably Philip, and Evan. So and maybe the Dreamcast guy. So if you guys are into that, make sure you check out Spawnwave's his channel, and I'll be there, man. But thanks so much for joining me, Andy. I do appreciate it. Thanks to everyone in the chat. You guys were awesome. All the great questions. We had over 100 people watching, so that's cool. I know you guys like these, so I'm going to be bringing you these discussions at least once or twice a week, in addition to PlayerEssence Cross Nintendo. So it's going to be a lot of fun going forward. But anything else you want to say to the people before we bounce, Andy?
No, just thank you.
Okay, so his name is John. His name is John.
Oh, John. Okay.
Yeah.
He looks like a John.
I just call him Spawn. Like I literally call him Spawn. Like, and he just says, "Yeah, what's up?" You know what I'm saying? Like I literally have called him Spawn this whole time. I've called him because I like Spawn. So I think I made my. I think he told me his name, but I made my own name for him. Because like I really like Spawn the comics, you know,
yeah,
the movie.
Awesome,
So yeah. So
the movie.
Hey! Don't hate on Spawn the movie.
John Leguizamo. Come on, man, that was bad. That was so bad.
So I did say that I was gonna have you on for another one, but I'm gonna rethink that. Okay, I'm gonna. I know everyone doesn't like that 1997 movie, but I do.
Hey, the Uzis are cool. Yeah.
The cinematics, the CG, the costume.
The CG?
Dude, it was good for 97. It was good for 97.
Look at it again. I don't know if you... I think you're taking the Scotch glasses off, man. That's a bad movie, dude. That's like, hey, I thought Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was good. I saw it again, like, recently. It is, the CGI is as bad as Spawn. It's so
You are
horrible.
such a Debbie McDowner. Oh, I can't believe this. It's not horrible. But anyway, all right, guys, we're going to take off. Thank you so much for having us. We'll see you guys for the next video. Bye-bye.
See you.